Let's dive right into an explainer of Nepal's highly anticipated 2083/84 fiscal budget. Every year, we know this speech is just packed with dense numbers and complex policies. But today, we're cutting straight through all that noise. Let's break down exactly what these changes actually mean for your wallet, for local businesses, and honestly, for the entire nation's future. So, imagine this. You're earning up to 1 million rupees or 10 lakhs, and you're paying absolutely zero income tax. Well, that is the new reality. By doubling the individual tax exemption limit, the government is making a massive play here. They want to give the middle class a breather, boost everyday purchasing power, and inject some much-needed dynamic movement right back into the local economy. It's a real game changer for everyday folks. Section 1. Tax and administrative reforms. Easing the burden and cutting red tape. To actually make doing business smoother, the government is finally shrinking its own footprint. They're trimming things down from 22 to 18 ministries, and they're slashing those super complex customs tiers from 11 down to just 7. This is huge because fewer layers literally means less confusion at the border, much faster processing, and ultimately cheaper goods for you as the consumer. And honestly, the cuts just keep coming. Excise duties? Gone. Completely abolished on 360 different goods. Plus, to sweeten the deal for high earners and businesses, the maximum personal income tax rate is being slashed by 10%. The overarching strategy here is pretty clear. They want to leave money in your hands to spur the economy, rather than keeping it all locked up in government coffers. Section 2, IT and Innovation, propelling Nepal into the AI era. The stated vision here is, quote, entering the era of artificial intelligence with confidence through the nation's first sovereign AI compute center. Now, this is a massive pivot. Instead of just talking about roads and bridges like usual, the government genuinely wants Nepal to leapfrog those traditional industrial phases straight into the global tech economy. So how exactly are they going to do it? Well, the answer lies in Suchitar, with this new sovereign AI compute center. The government is buying thousands of processing units to provide subsidized computing power directly to local startups. It's an incredibly clever play. Think about it. They're taking Nepal's abundant, clean hydroelectric energy and converting it directly into high-value AI processing power. Now, funding a full-blown AI revolution? That isn't cheap. To pull this off, the government plans to sell 34% of its stake in Nepal Telecom, open up the whole IT sector to foreign investment, legally protect and promote remote workers, and crucially, offer these prestigious fellowships to lure the top 15 Nepali AI researchers back home from abroad. Moving right along, Section 3, Energy and Infrastructure, powering and connecting the nation. Of course, all this digital ambition absolutely requires a rock-solid energy grid. To clear up some of those long-standing bottlenecks, the budget proposes tearing up the massive Nepal Electricity Authority playbook. They're unbundling it into 3 specialized agile companies, one purely for generating power, one for maintaining transmission lines, and one dedicated exclusively to selling electricity both at home and abroad. And the physical deliverables backing all this up are, well, they're highly ambitious. They are targeting an additional 1,040 megawatts to the grid this year alone, upgrading the east-west highway to 4 lanes, and fast-tracking the Kathmandu-Terai tunnel. They're even looking at the future of clean fuel by launching a green hydrogen pilot plant down in Hekirawa. The real question is going to be, can they build it all fast enough? Section 4, Health and Education. Rebuilding the social foundation. 90%. That is the monumental target the government has set to bring citizens under the universal health insurance umbrella within just 3 years. This is a massive push to drastically reduce out-of-pocket medical expenses for everyday families. What does this mean for you? It translates into real localized care. They're aiming for domestic production of 25 free essential medicines and introducing entirely free cancer treatment for children in state hospitals. Education-wise, schools will shift to a decentralized, school-centric model that empowers local management. And importantly, the nutrition allowance for Dalit children is being doubled to 1,000 rupees a month to combat malnutrition right where it hits the hardest. All right, Section 5, Key Budget Numbers. The macro view. To fund this incredibly expansive vision, we really have to look at the math. The monumental total size of the 2083/84 national budget is 2,124.34 Arba rupees. Keep in mind, 1 Arba equals 1 billion rupees, so it's a staggering figure, a 25.2% increase over last year's revised estimates. But where does all that money actually go? Here's the structural reality check. Despite the bold tech and infrastructure plans, nearly 60% of this entire budget is swallowed up by current expenditure. That's just paying salaries and keeping the lights on in government. Only 20.3% is actually allocated for capital expenditure, to actually build things, while the remaining 19.9% goes largely to paying off existing debts. So, you're probably asking, where is all this money coming from? The budget relies on very aggressive revenue collection targets of over 1,405 arba. But honestly, that still leaves a massive deficit. To bridge the gap, the government is going to need roughly 657 arba in internal and foreign loans, alongside about 61 arba in foreign grants. Ultimately, the finance minister is attempting a bit of a high-wire act here. The goal of all these tax cuts, AI investments, and infrastructure pushes is to achieve a robust 7% economic growth rate, while simultaneously keeping inflation safely capped to below 6%. Which leaves us with the ultimate question. The vision is undeniably bold, from halving tax burdens to establishing sovereign AI and unbundling the entire energy grid. But in a system where 60% of the budget goes just to running the government itself, can these ambitious structural reforms actually be executed? Will this propel Nepal into a new era of prosperity, or just get bogged down in the bureaucracy it's actively trying to cut? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.